3 Levels of Pecking Order. April 3, 2019 by Anna von Reitz. There are 3 levels of pecking order in the world we live in. 1. Living people, who are unincorporated and sovereign beings. 2. Lawful persons, that are corporate, but not incorporated. 3. Legal persons, that are incorporated entities. How does this work? Living people create lawful persons and lawful persons create legal persons. Your living parents thought up a name and gave it to you. First your parents created you, and then, they created your lawful person. They might also create a small unincorporated business and name it, thereby creating another lawful person. So this is the relationship between living people and lawful persons. Lawful persons can be converted into legal persons by changing the jurisdiction in which these persons are operating. When a lawful person is shanghaied off the land and into the jurisdiction of the sea without their knowledge or consent, as we Americans were, this is called an unlawful conversion. Via unlawful and non-consensual conversion, all our lawful persons were presumed to be legal persons beginning in 1933. Since the name appears the same either way, regardless of the capacity in which we are acting, it is impossible to look at a piece of paper, read a name like Sean Patrick Murray, and tell whether a man is operating as a lawful person or in a legal person capacity. Thus, our parents and grandparents had no warning and no disclosure about this presumed change in their capacity as it changed from lawful to legal, from land to sea. They just continued to use their proper names as they always had, under the same assumptions as ever. Imagine that you are reading from the script of Anne of Green Gables, and all around you, the backdrop is changed to that of a horror film. You and your friend kept reading from the original script, but little by little, vampires and mummies kept making appearances. Of course you couldn't grasp what was going on or what caused the changes. It was like that. The euphemistic way the rats say it, is that the normal course of business changed. It has never been normal since. When our shanghaied legal person wakes up and declares and records their return to the land and soil jurisdiction they are heir to, this results in a lawful conversion back to lawful person status. This is what we are doing when we purposefully extract our proper names and return them to the land and soil of our home states and reclaim our birthright political status as American state nationals or American state citizens. We are, on the record, lawfully converting the presumed legal person back into a lawful person. Please really notice this and grasp the fact that on paper, Sean Patrick Murray, a lawful person standing on the land and soil of California, looks exactly the same as Sean Patrick Murray, a legal person on a boat 100 miles out at sea. In the first case, Sean Patrick is living under the public law of California as a private person. In the second case, Sean Patrick is living under the international law of the sea and as a ward, a public person, of the state of California. See the difference in law and status that was created by the filthy, rotten, dirty Roosevelt administration? It unlawfully converted the identity and political status and capacity of the innocent American people to that of homeless wards of the British territorial states of states. It was the crime of the century. It also unlawfully converted them from being heirs of this country and inheritors of the constitutional guarantees to being British subjects of the Queen, and also subjected the victims of this monstrous betrayal to maritime and admiralty law. Okay, so that's the sting operation and switcheroo the British territorial United States government pulled on us in 1933, the conversion by fiat of legal presumption of our entire population, their unlawful conversion of our lawful persons into legal persons, and also their non-consensual press, ganging and transport of trusting Americans into the foreign international jurisdiction of the sea as wards and public persons of their states of states. But what about legal persons that exist by consent? Some people like a life at sea, and they are, of course, able to choose that option. Many do, when they sign up to serve in the U.S. military. However, when they retire, they are eligible to return home to the land and soil of their home states, like anyone else who has been working overseas for a foreign corporation. There are also legal persons of other kinds. One may take a step further into the airy-fairy world of international commerce and form an incorporated person. Such incorporated persons can be formed by either lawful persons or legal persons, depending upon their permanent domicile. Incorporated persons have to be formed under a charter or convention that stipulates their nature, purpose and aims, structure, kind of business, officers, any limitations, and form of law and resolution they are standing under. Typically, incorporated persons are chartered by a government, that is, by other pre-existing legal persons or legal persons. In this country, this could be a territorial state of state, a municipal state of state, or directly by their parent corporations, which are, of course, already legal persons or legal persons themselves. If a lawful person creates an incorporated person via patent or buys or accepts such a person as a gift, what the municipal United States does when it confers a municipal person, citizen as a gift to every territorial United States citizen, ward of the state, they are free to domicile that person wherever they wish in the world, and that person then stands under the law of the country where they are domiciled, regardless of where else they might be. This is what we do as lawful persons when we seize upon the assumed names derived from our proper names and declare their permanent domicile on the land and soil of one of the states. The persons associated with us because they are named after us, are then no longer standing under the laws of Puerto Rico, but under the public law of, for example, Maine. Lawful person can operate in the capacity of legal persons, municipal citizens, but seldom have any reason to, unless they go to work for the municipal United States government as federal civil service employees. Like their brethren in the U.S. military, they can return home to their states and resume life as lawful persons once they are severed from or retire from their federal municipal jobs. So are you one of the people living on the soil jurisdiction of your Republican state or acting as one of the lawful persons called people populating the land jurisdiction of your state of the Union, or are you acting as a legal person known as a United States citizen or acting as a legal person known as a citizen of the United States, or? As you can see, it's impossible for you to intelligently choose such a capacity or even know what form of law you are operating under, until someone explains all this. Nobody does. So you are like an infant, defenseless, left adrift in a sea of deceit and breach of trust. Most lawyers in this country don't even know all this. They have been trained to process certain kinds of financial transactions and make it look good, or as the rules of the federal courts put it, provide an appearance of justice. Most of lawyers know nothing about actual public law. Most of them don't even know that we have the option of acting as lawful persons, because their education has been so one-sided. Most lawyers don't know that their attorney escrow accounts are being used to launder money and transfer money all over the world, either. They don't know that they have been set up to be the fall guys, along with the military generals, for the bankers and politicians. Please hit subscribe, like, share, embed, and get ready for many more of my article videos.